lot of people don't actually live life. They make a living, but they don't actually live life. And it was important to me that I do more than just make a living. I had been traveling across country for about 6 years, and as a small business owner, I never took time off. So I would take that road trip and enjoy myself, and I fell in love with traveling. I also felt very disillusioned with everyday life and had some life changes that helped me understand how short life is. I lost everything in a flood. I literally left the apartment that I was in with the dog I had at the time and a pillowcase of clothes. So I had to start from scratch, and I just realized that it was really easy for me, way easier than I would have ever thought, to walk away from everything. And ever since then, which was like 15 years ago, I just haven't found a need for much of anything, because it's very important to me to live a life that I feel is aligned with my values, and that I don't just say that I live it. Hey there, I'm Lex, and this is my dog Riot, and we live in this 6x12 off-road cargo trailer. The trailer is outfitted by a company called Colorado Trailers. They're in Castle Rock, Colorado. You can order it to custom specs. So given the nature of how I like to live my life off the grid and as far off the road as possible, I got a off-road trailer, which means it has mud terrain tires. It has a lift on it. I got the double axle to make sure if one tire goes south, I still have 3 more to get me by. I do carry a spare, but if you're real far off the road and you're on real bad road like what we're on now, I can have 2 tires go and still limp somewhere to get assistance. Most of the trailer I ordered as you see it. I ordered it with the lift, and I ordered it with the dual axle, and it's a torsion axle, which also helps with the shifting of off-road, especially when you get onto awkward inclines. It came with the ladder rack, the tinted windows. I did add 200 watts of solar onto the roof, which I don't think is actually enough, especially because I work as what they call a digital nomad. So I'm on my laptop like 40 hours a week. I do use a lot of power, and I just got a refrigerator. So I would recommend having at least 400 watts of solar if you have heavy power consumption. 200 watts is getting me by since I'm in the desert, but come summer when I go up into the woods, I'm definitely gonna have to add to my solar. The only other modification I made to the front or the outside of the trailer is installing a diesel tank for my diesel heater, and that's around the front. For my diesel heater, I built this box, and I did a diesel heater instead of a wood stove because I didn't want to feed the wood stove every couple hours. There's just certain limitations to a wood stove that I didn't want to deal with, and diesel heaters are really easy and very economical. And I store my diesel outside of the trailer here, and it makes it easy. I can fill up at any gas station super simply. And then if I have any leakage issues, it'll all leak outside. It works super well. I have the 5 kilowatt Chinese diesel heater. It's the cheap one. It was like 140 bucks on Amazon. I don't use this generator platform for a generator. I actually store firewood in here. I use solar, so I don't need the generator, but this platform can hold 500 pounds, so I can hold quite a lot of firewood under the box and keep it dry. So the door, if I desire, which I almost never do, because especially out here, you just get so much sand and dirt on it, but the door drops down, and then these little feet you can drop down, and it turns into a deck. So you have like a platform deck that you can, chill out on. I do that more in the summer in the woods because you're not going to get all this like sand and dust and debris that you get out in the desert. Because then is, you can sweep it off, but as soon as you put the door back up, it all falls into the trailer. So I don't put this down here in the desert very often. I pull the trailer with this Ford F-250. It's a 2016. It's a 6.7 turbo diesel. It used to be, before I got it, it was a Canadian police vehicle, but it was in pretty good condition and it had the service records, and I got it on a really great deal. but I like having more space for me and the dog. So the trailer was a great addition. I have a camping style that I maximize my stay on public lands. So if I'm gonna be somewhere for 14 days, it's nice having the space. All right, welcome to our home. It's small, but it's everything that I need. When I got the trailer, it was basically an empty box. So you get to kind of play and, create a modular system that works for your needs. I didn't really give how I laid it out much foresight outside of weight distribution. So I didn't really have any aesthetic principle. I had complete functionality in my layout because it was based on ideal weight distribution for a trailer. But I could be happy no matter where. I think, again, that's a choice. I work from the road, and so I like a desk. I like a standing desk. I have a better mental computation, I think, when I'm standing versus when I'm sitting. So this is a standing desk from IKEA, and it's just modular shelves that come with it that you can easily put in and just have your storage simply there. And then I work, from my laptop. My thing is like self-care. So I have a lot of like girly face care and, essential oils and body care products. I think a lot of times living on the road is perceived to be dirty, and it is, but being filthy is a choice. You don't have to be. And so I have all of this just dedicated to make sure I stay clean and feel good about taking care of myself. And then down below is all my power needs. So I have two 105 amp hour AGM batteries that are in parallels. I think it's parallels that I have them in. And then I have all my electrical system and outlets. And I did do it myself. And I like to joke that you can tell because it looks really crappy, but it's functional. And the most helpful website that I have found for DIY solar power is Will Prowse. Almost everyone is familiar with the one and only Will Prowse. And so his website was how I was able to figure out how to do this myself without having any gifts in the electrical realms. This is a battery charger. So if I plug into shore power, although I have tested it, and I can actually plug this into my Jackery. So you just need to plug it into a regular 100 just plug it into a regular socket, and then you attach. God, you can tell I don't use it very often. And then you just hook these up to your battery cables, and then you can charge your battery, kind of like jumping it. But it's a smart system, so you don't cook your battery in the process. This started as a box for my power cord for my 30 amp, and then I just started throwing a bunch of your random stuff in there. So when I'm parked, I just kind of put everything up there on top of the battery boxes. This is the Jackery 240, and it's what I started out with. So I did not put in my larger solar power system until this past September. So for the first year, almost year and a half, I just got away with this and a 100-watt panel, but I wasn't working online yet. So this probably would not get you by. For an emergency, it's great. This is a 45-quart refrigerator. For the past year, though, I just got that. For the past year, I've been using this RTIC cooler. And now I just use it for storage. It's like a foot locker. And this is 45 quarts, and it was great. It was more than sufficient. I'm a vegetarian, so I don't have as much refrigeration needs, but my dog eats a raw diet, and it's important to me that I keep her quality of food and quality of life just as high as when we lived in the convenience of a city. So having a refrigerator ensures that her food is always its most fresh, and I can keep a 2-week supply now that I have the fridge. So again, it's not necessary, but it's a luxury that I really enjoy and would recommend, particularly if one of your ideals in a nomadic lifestyle is to be out away from people as long as possible. And then here I just have storage. It's laundry day, but a lot of times I have sweatshirts hanging up there and whatnot. but it's just, you know, you hang stuff that's easy to hang. I have a hat, you know, out here in the desert, you need to protect your skin and your eyes and everything. Part of self-care ritual, I do dry brushing. It helps with lymphatic flow and circulation and all that. And then holster for target practice and stuff. And then these are from IKEA. They are meant to be foot lockers or shoe storage, but they're really, really light, and I just keep my clothes in them. You keep quite a lot of clothes, and then there's almost no weight to them. So the bed is cot size. It's really just meant for me and my dog. And no matter how big of a bed I have historically had, I've had up to a queen size bed in my time with her, and she will always sleep as close into me as possible. So there's no point in having a big bed with her. So this is more than adequate size, and I made it myself. So it's pretty sturdy. It's sufficient. It's holding up. And then I just have a like 4-inch trifold mattress. And it's, you know, adequate. It's comfortable. I get a good night's sleep. I think the best night's sleep I've ever had is sleeping out in nature, you know, cozying up with my dog. And here are like wire basket shelves, and I keep books and my journal and my dog's bones and her Kong and some treats up here just for easy storage. These are storage boxes that, again, I got from IKEA, and they're really, really lightweight. And I keep clothes in these ones. And then these are food storage. And they're messy because, you know, I'm only living for myself, so it doesn't really matter. But they're nice and they're light, just aluminum boxes. Again, another storage container. And then the good old compost toilet. So I just use the bucket method with bags and then compost material, peat moss or gerbil bedding. There's no reason to overcomplicate it. And then this is my kitchen. These are wall cabinets from Home Depot. It makes them thinner. They're only, I think, 12 inches instead of your standard 18 inches. So it gives me more hallway space. And then I just cut a piece of plywood, treated it, and nailed it on top. But it's a lot of storage. And again, it's kind of messy because it's only me and the dog. But it's a lot of storage space. It's really efficient. I just cook on a single burner butane stove. This is more than sufficient. I eat very simply, and I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, so I'm not complicated when I cook. I am an eat to live, not live to eat person. So I keep it simple. So I chose not to plumb the trailer. I just use a wash-up bucket, or I have an outdoor shower that I use, and that's more than adequate. So I just use a 5-gallon with a hand pump, and then this is Riot's water bowl. But this seems more than adequate for my needs. It did also come right above you is air conditioner. But I have never plugged into shore power, so I have never actually used it. So I don't know, and I don't have any plans to ever plug into shore power, so it might have been a waste of money, but you never know. Maybe in the future I'll need it, because I don't foresee me living any other way in the foreseeable future. There's no way to have sovereignty if you're always relying on someone else. I don't think this life is for everyone. It's certainly got its ups and downs, just like every other life. So I think you can entertain it and give yourself, like, you know, take a 3-week vacation if you're able to. Maybe rent a van, but make sure that you do it realistically so that you're not disillusioned by the marketing that you see on hashtags. You know, I feel like this is a really fortunate era for those that want to live a nomadic lifestyle because of the internet. I'm a videographer and admin for a travel channel. I have a website, lexandriot.com, and then we do chronicle our adventures on YouTube, and that's Lex and Riot as well. I have absolute modern convenience of being able to sustain a career and a job and an income and save for the future, put away in a Roth IRA, you know, all the things that you're supposed to do to be a productive member of society, while also living on the absolute fringes of society in a way that, again, aligns with my personal beliefs and values. Oh, I'm the most content that I've ever been. I see every moment as a miracle. You don't take anything for granted. You're able to live really mindfully. I think minimalism has different definitions. I would say I live intentionally. Maybe it's minimalistic, but it's definitely intentional.